final time in 2021. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the J&J Power Hour. We're not live this week. We tried out something last week. We don't know if we'll do more of them. It was kind of fun, but it was very strenuous on my end because I had to do a lot of extra things. And I'm lazy, especially when it comes to this stuff, especially when it comes to podcasts. I'm just really lazy, but it is what it is. JPJ, how was Christmas?
It was good. It was good. I had the weekend off. Saw some family that obviously these last few years we haven't seen enough of because of everything. So I saw a little bit of family. Had a good time. Good food. Yeah, it was a good weekend. It always goes by a little too quick. Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Mine was really quiet this year. This was a really low-key Christmas. Not mad about it at all because Christmas can be very exhausting. Let's just be honest.
It can be.
It can be so draining, even like, because I still, like I said many times, I have a little brother, so Christmas is still kind of like you got to be at mum's early because you want to watch Zach unwrap his presents and, you know, that kind of stuff. So it was like 7 a.m. I'm at my mum's. It's unwrapping presents, doing all that, breakfast, chill for a bit, big lunch. Then I went home and had a nap. And we didn't really do a lot of stuff in the evening. We just kind of had a big lunch this year, and we're just kind of like, if you want to come for dinner, be my guest. But if not, like, you can kind of just take a plate of food home, have it on your own. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm tired. Like, it was my only break from work. So I was like, I'm just going to go home after lunch. I'll take Mum set me up with this like fucking monstrous plate of leftovers. Take this over, warm it up in the microwave. Or that, as that lady says, I don't know if you've seen this on TikTok, but I can't think of her name. That really famous chef. She's got like brown hair. She's like one of the most. Right? No, not her. She's like, I feel like she's European. I don't know, but she calls it the microwave, and it's the funniest thing.
Microwave.
Yeah, she calls it the microwave, and it's like a thing on TikTok at the moment. People that watch will know that they've scrolled through that video. It's an old clip from one of her. She said it on a cooking show, and she said microwave.
I don't know.
Microwave. But anyway,
that's amazing.
So Mum gave me that, and I napped in the afternoon. And then had a big plate of food in the evening, and then went straight back to fucking sleep, and it was great.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a great day.
But yeah, it was a good Christmas. Is always we both said it didn't really feel like Christmas this year, but the actual day itself felt like Christmas. I was like, okay,
yes, I agree.
It feels like Christmas now. And then at the moment. So Christmas obviously was on a Saturday. Sunday was, we have Boxing Day over here. I don't think you have Boxing Day in the States, do you?
That is not a thing for us.
Boxing Day. And then because Christmas and Boxing Day fell on the weekend, we have two, we call them public holidays, bank holidays, whatever you call them, wherever the hell you are, just a holiday. Monday, and then today is Tuesday. So we have 4-day stretch of, there's no, like, it's just holiday rules. Trading is very low for a lot of stores. A lot of places aren't open. They just take the 4-day break. It's kind of just like, obviously where I work, Christmas Day was the only day we weren't open, but even being at work is just slow, which is a good thing because you need like that kind of, energizer to get back and ready for the next week because it's going to be crazy again because it's New Year's and everything like that. So it's been a nice welcome change, and all that public holiday money, earning extra for working on holidays.
100%.
I put my hand up for that. I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I could use the extra money. When are you ever going to say no to money? Obviously.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, back in when I worked at a supermarket for like almost 10 years before I did what I do now. And I used to always, not always, like there were some that I was like, oh, I got plans, I'm not going to do it this time. But like the majority of it, I was like, oh yeah, holiday pay. Okay, I'm in.
Fuck yeah.
Give me a full day.
My boss is like,
I'll take some extra money.
Why
the hell
not?
Work
on those days. Like you always ask like, hey, is it okay if I put you on this day, or do you want to work this day? And I'm like, I'll do it. Yes, please. The only one that I really, I don't know if there's any holidays that I'm really like, I won't work that. I like to have New Year's Day off because, I used to just get hammeredly drunk on New Year's Eve.
Exactly. You go out raging, yeah.
But like, I don't know. I work this New Year's Eve, but I don't work until late, so like I can still kind of.
Yeah, same for me. I work in the morning, so I'll be home by midday, and it's like, all right. And then I have New Year's, and the way that it falls on a Saturday is, and because of my position currently, I have Saturday, Sunday off. So I'm just like, all right, well, okay,
well.
like, oh, good to go. So I know because I'm older now. So now when I drink, it's usually like
you need
if I'm
to have
drinking
the next
like
day off.
if I'm drinking to like, oh, I'm getting drunk tonight, which is I don't do it a ton.
Me either.
But like if I'm like, all right, I'm having a night, I'm throwing one on. I'm like, okay, cool. That next day, it's not like I'm not 26 anymore. Like that next day, I can't just be like, good to go. Because up until the last few years, I never had any issues. I could go out partying, get 2 hours of sleep. I'd wake up, boom. Once I was in that shower,
when I was like 19.
Day over.
By the way, everybody, for you Americans listening, no, I wasn't underage drinking. 18 is the legal
18,
age.
right?
18 is the legal age of drinking in this country. But I remember being like 9. I didn't have my first drink of alcohol until I was 19. So a lot of people, let's all be honest here. You're underage drinking. It's a thing that most people do. A lot of kids 15, 16 years old are all out, with their friends, like getting drunk. And I was just one that's like, I'm not into this. I don't want to do this. 18th birthday, usually that's when people get, like a 21st over there. You get fucking wrecked. You drink as much alcohol as humanly possible and then you just black out.
Yeah.
Didn't do that. I was like, no, I don't want to. Then I met a few people that were like, hey, you should just have a drink. Like, just see what you do. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, this is fun. From the years of like 19 to like 22, I was like out every weekend binge drinking. And I would work early on a Sunday morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I'd be out until like 3 or 4 in the morning. Be like, as long as I get an hour or two of sleep, I'm good.
Yeah.
And you just
100%.
You're fine. You're fine. I was probably
like
still
nothing
drunk,
happened.
to be honest, most of the time. But I was fine. You wouldn't get a hang. You could drink just ridiculous amounts of alcohol, wake up and be like, let's run a marathon. Even now, like, I'm starting to get to the point where I have minimal drinks, like say 4 drinks, and I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel so great today. Like, I just need to take the day off.
Just like a little off. Couch. Just like a little off.
And I'm like, oh my God, what's the, like, this is just wet. It's just starting, the trajectory is starting here. But I mean, New Year's is I'm always going to have a few drinks on New Year's Eve. I don't give a fuck.
I agree.
It's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Let's rid of, this year has been, it's so, personally, and just as a world in general, it's just been a brutal year. This last
it has
month,
it's been a rough year. Just in general with everything going on, and personally for me as well a little bit. So on to 2022.
New
higher
Year's,
hopes.
Same problems.
Higher hopes. Yeah, probably. At least to start. We are definitely going to be having the same problems. So, you got to hope maybe the second half. Doubt it. But maybe the second half. Maybe. That's all. Gotta have without hope. We got
happy
nothing.
You're
Josh.
optimistic.
Without hope, we got nothing.
I'm glad you're optimistic. You can be optimistic.
I'm slightly optimistic. I said doubt it. So I'm slightly optimistic, but you got to have a little hope, right? Otherwise, it's gonna be bad.
I don't know. It's not starting off great. We're getting. We said this off air. That sounds so like radio of me, but before recording. That COVID is reminding us. Omicron is reminding us that COVID never really went anywhere. It's been here the whole time. But now Australia is in the worst spot it's ever been in since the beginning of the pandemic. We are in, maybe lockdowns are a thing of the past because of vaccinations and stuff like that. Okay. But now it's just a matter of playing the dodging game of actually avoiding to get COVID. I'm not really listen, I'm double vaxxed. I'm pretty certain that if I got COVID, I would be okay. You never know, but I would be okay. But it's the quarantining. We still have to do 7 days of quarantine. That's 7 days that I go without work. I can't leave my house. Like, for you guys that are fans of me, I'd stream every fucking day for every minute because I have nothing else to fucking do. But also, it's 7 days where I have to get people to go do my grocery shopping. And it's 7 days where I have to go and get people if something goes wrong with, say if there's something, emergency that happens with the cat or something like that and she gets sick, I have to literally put her outside and get someone to come get her because no one's allowed to come into my home. It's just more so of that. And I've said this many times. I live in a fairly regional town outside of Adelaide. If we get a COVID outbreak in this town, I will get COVID. I work in a very prominent spot in this town. Everybody in this town goes to that spot. I will get COVID. So I have to put myself at risk by just going simply to work, which kind of stresses me out a little bit. But it's inevitable. I'm pretty certain that at one stage in our lives, JPJ, I'm pretty certain that we can say we're going to get COVID at some stage in our life. It's just a thing now. But just, man, we've preached this enough, and you're probably sick of us talking about this. We're also in a spot where we both believe this, and if you don't agree, that's fine. But we're very much like, go get vaccinated and just do the right thing and still follow the rules. We're still in a pandemic, guys. But we won't harp on that too much. I know when we say 2021, what do you think about? COVID's probably the first motherfucking thing that you think of in your brain. But we're going to talk the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the kind of stuff from 2021 in this episode to end the year off and kind of set ourselves up for 2022 because, man, being optimistic is hard at this point because everyone said last year, I can't wait for 2021. The COVID pandemic will be over.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was part of the problem is everyone was like, oh, yeah, 2021, it'll be fine. I was like, no, 2021, we're actually going to experience it for the full year.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
I would argue, well, at least in this country, it's worse now than it was in 2020. Australia was looked at as like a pillar of like doing the right thing.
Yes, that is true.
It was like New Zealand, Australia. We were doing the right thing, keeping people inside, keeping our cases numbers dramatically low. And now on the opposite side, one full year later, I don't know what you see about this country, JPJ, but we're in the shitter. We're in the fucking deep end of it. We're in the worst state we've ever been with the amount of cases.
We are at our worst since last January. So we're at our worst in a year. You know, going to be January in whatever, 5 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is. And that's where we're at. And then today in America, I don't know if it's if it's worldwide, but the CDC came out and said that if you test positive, you don't have to. It's not 10 days anymore; it's 5. So they were just like, "Hey, we don't care."
It's so different. Like we have 7 days isolation if we're double vaxxed. And then 14 if you're unvaxxed. But man, oh man.
No. It was 10 no matter what.
Every single day the rules change. It's 1 minute you got to get tested. If you're around people next to it, it's like monitor for symptoms. It's like, oh my God, we have new rules every day and people are so confused by actually what is the law at this stage that I'm even like, I don't know what I do if I come into contact with someone with COVID because I don't know the rules anymore. Am I meant to quarantine? Do I require a test? Do I just got to monitor for symptoms? I don't fucking know. So wonder why it's spreading at the rapid pace that it is.
Unreal.
But, again, what else can you do than just be like, I've done the right thing. I'm vaccinated. I'll be eligible for my booster in a couple of months. I'll go get that. Like, what else are you meant to do? You can't. There's a fine line between like living cautiously and not living at all. We have to be able to still, at some point, we just have to go, listen, it's inevitable. This is going to happen. We have to live our lives. We have to just figure it out. We can't sit in our houses forever. But whatever, it is what it is. But now that we got COVID out of the way, let's talk about something way more interesting in 2021. We'll talk wrestling a little later. Let's talk about music because we love music. It's probably the only thing that I probably love more than professional wrestling is music. If I had to give up one of them, I think I'd give up wrestling over music because there's no situation that is better, that it isn't better with music. Like it's just, I love music. I just think music is so important. Like imagine not having music. What a terrible time that would be. It would be truly fucking awful.
It would not be a good time.
It would be
awful.
It would
not be a good time.
But when
I do feel like, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I was going to be like, I love music. I listen to music every day, but I do feel like slowly over the last 2 to 5 years, when podcasts have become so popular, I do see myself. I used to listen to like music all day, every day. Like if I was doing anything, music would be playing in the background, right? So I would just be, gaming or anything.
Yeah.
And now I feel like maybe half that time I'm listening to a podcast or I'm doing that. So I do feel like I still listen to music a ton, but I don't listen to it as much as I used to, and that makes me sad. I feel like I need to kind of get back on track and listen to music as much as I used to. Ton of good stuff came up. Yeah, no, sad, isn't it?
I love music. I love
it
I'm
too.
the first part of that sentence. I am like, wherever there's a situation where I can listen to music, music is on.
Yeah.
It's just on. I adore music, all different kinds of genres and everything. I just love music. When I'm speaking with a person, whether it's friendship, romantically, doesn't matter. I have to talk about music at some stage because it's a bonding thing of like, even if we don't agree, we don't like any of the same music. I love hearing people's music taste. I'm like, why do you like fucking, I don't know, hardcore music, or why do you like country music, or whatever it may be? I'm just like fascinated by like, I just think I put a lot of characteristics in a person with their music selection. I'm like, oh, this is the kind of, I don't know why, it's fucking weird, but that's just how I am. I love and adore music. But 2021, I will say, was, I think, a pretty good, well, for what I like, a pretty good music year. I've had a lot of good records come out and a lot of good music come out that I've fallen in love with in 2021. For you, 2021, we'll kind of go one by one here, but if you had to pick like one record from the release year of January 1st to right now, what's your go-to record have been like, 2021 produced me this record?
Oh my. All right. I would say I listen to a little bit more of not obscure, but like I don't listen to a bunch of like pop or like radio stuff a ton
Too
of.
mainstream for you, JPJ.
Oh, I know. I'm too cool. I'm such a hipster. My favorite album of the year is Radical by Every Time I Die.
Never heard of it, but good for you.
Yeah, so Every Time I Die is a metal band based out of Buffalo, New York. Ooh. The Butcher from AEW is the lead
we
guitarist
talked about this
for Every
before.
Time I Die.
Okay, I have heard of it. I lied. Yes.
They've been around for a long time. Like I think their first album was in the early 2000s. So they've been around for a while. They're one of my all-time favorite bands. Like they're in my top 5 favorite bands of all time for me. But this album, they're one of these bands that has always been good, but they've just gotten better and better and better and better. And this album came out late. Like I want to say this album came out like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And the second I heard it, I was like, man, this is a powerhouse of a record. And it's basically been the only thing I've listened to since it came out. And yeah, I mean, without question for me, once I heard it, I was like, holy moly, like this is real, real good. And it's become what I think, in my personal opinion, is the best album of the year for me. So that's the one I've been grooving to the most. Another one that I did enjoy, though, there's a band called Turnstile.
Heard of them.
That I'm a huge fan of. And they had a new album release, I think, late summer, August-ish, called Glow On. And that is a very, very good record as well. A lot of jams, man. A lot of jams on that one.
I have 2 as well, so that's good. First one is Scaled and Icy, 21 Pilots. People have obviously heard of 21 Pilots. I love that friggin' album when it came out. It was one of those ones that I'm a person that likes to listen to it from top to bottom, like in order that the band or artist put, because that's at least the first time. And then I'll shuffle it and be like, I like this track and this track and this track. Scaled and Icy is just a very, I don't know. The thing I like, everyone knows 21 Pilots isn't necessarily my favorite band in the world, but they're in the kind of conversation for what I love. What I like about them is that they're a band that doesn't really see genre at all. They're just kind of like, they kind of have a little bit of everything. And usually I don't love that. I'm like, just stick to your sound and produce what you produce best. But they just kind of produce a little bit of everything. And I really like that. Like they have a lot of upbeat stuff, and more of like a pop sound. You've listened to 21 Pilots, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
They're very obscure. They're the ultimate kind of label of alternative, because they're just a little bit everywhere with stuff. And Scaled and Icy was a really, really good record. And I just really, I loved that. That came out, and I want to, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like mid 2021 that it came out. And I was like, yep. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, it was the perfect album to put on in a car. And I find car music like the best music that you can just put on, windows down, and it's just like, I'm having a good time. And it was kind of an album that, to me, as opposed to their older records, it kind of was just an album that was just kind of like carefree. It didn't really have an overlaying story. You know how some albums kind of flow really nicely together and it kind of tells an overall story? To me, this one didn't. It was just kind of songs on an album, but I like that. They were all individual, and I really appreciated that about that album. The other one is probably going to be no surprise to anybody, but in January of this year, very early January, Flowers for Vases came out. Hayley Williams released her second solo album, which was entirely produced and she played every instrument on the album.
Nice.
Well, so she did it completely out of her home. She recorded it, everything out of her home in Nashville. So as opposed to her first album in 2020, Petals for Armor, that came out and it was kind of like what I think Hayley Williams, when she went on this solo adventure for a couple of albums, she was kind of like, this is what the record label wanted from me. And it kind of was a very good album, but it was kind of like a love letter to the record. Yeah, like a little bit more of a...
Like a compromise of some
yeah, like, okay, this is what the sound I think Hayley Williams would produce. And then she pretty much released a complete acoustic album, to be completely honest, her second album. I don't know if you like acoustic jams, but it's very much... And she played every single instrument from piano to drums and recorded it completely outside of her house, which I kind of like that vibe. And I'm like, it's very personal to, instead of producing something for her fan base, it's producing something for her. And I really appreciated that. So they're the two albums that kind of come to my brain. And if for anyone that's kind of iffy on Hayley Williams' solo stuff, because it is very different from Paramore for good reason, as it should be.
It should be, yeah.
I think you should listen to Flowers for Vases over Petals for Armor. First, you should listen to it backwards, because it's a little bit more of like, this is what she reckons she should sound like, and this is what, like, I think, like, the public perceives of what she should be producing. Both very good albums, both very different.
Yeah.
But I can tell you in a year's time, I will not be talking about Hayley Williams solo stuff, because she's already said that Paramore's coming back next year, so I will just be constantly erect for 2022. So that's kind of fun, because everyone knows how much I adore Paramore. I think you even realize that, and we've only been talking for however long, 6 months.
I mean, I was, for a long stretch, those first 3 records, I was a huge, huge fan of Paramore, and then I tailed off a little bit.
Their second 2 records are so much better than their first 3. You got to get into those.
Brand New Eyes is real good.
It's Paramore, the self-titled record in 2013. Paramore, greatest album of all time, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, it is the best album ever. I love that album. It's the only album they've ever won a Grammy off of. They've only ever won 1 Grammy, which is bizarre to me, because Paramore are they the biggest female-fronted band, at least in this generation? I don't think there's been a bigger female-fronted band. They're one of the bigger mainstream, like, bands in the world.
I thought for some they are. I feel like they should have been even more popular.
Well, I think so too. Everyone knows who Paramore is, I think. And I don't really come across many people that don't like them. But it's
true.
But I tune those people out.
But like I feel it's weird though, because I feel like the most famous thing she's done though was that hip hop song.
What, like,
I feel like she's known more. Yes.
Can pretend that airplane.
I bet you that's probably the most
Is it?
You know
Misery
what I mean?
Business was fucking huge.
It was. They don't even, but don't they not play that live anymore?
No, she does, but she just doesn't say the whore line, because she doesn't like that line.
All right, good. Because I thought I had read somewhere that they didn't play it. I was like, how are you not going to play that song?
Okay, so Misery Business, I'm going to put a hot take out. I know just going into Paramore talk, but I don't care. There's a Josh in this title, so and you adore music as well.
I can talk, if we're talking about this genre, this era of Paramore, I can talk all day.
I'm going to say a hot take, and people are going to come at me for this.
I think I'm going to slightly agree with you.
Misery Business is not even close to Paramore's best song. Not even close.
No,
it is mid-range Paramore. Like, it's MJF would say it is mid as fuck. Great song. There's no Paramore song I hate except The Only Exception. That's a terrible fucking song.
Oh my god, that's my least favorite too.
It's Hayley's least favorite as well. She refuses to like it. She's like, Brand New Eyes, I believe she said the line, Brand New Eyes is a perfect album, but there's only one exception.
And I do agree with her.
It's a terrible song. It is so fucking bad.
Yeah, I agree with her with the record too. I think that is a perfect record.
Brainy Wise is the epitome.
So good,
that
man.
came out in
I listened to it the other day.
2009, and I was 14 years old, and
she was angry on that record.
Yeah, essentially, well, they nearly broke up before that album. Well, they did break up for a very hot minute.
Like very aggressive lyrics.
And first full record that Hayley wrote all of the lyrics for. Because Hayley, I don't think a lot of people realize this about Paramore. Hayley, a lot of the stuff that comes out about Paramore about like Hayley this and Hayley that. First and foremost, front people in a band, lead singers are always going to be the ones with the most fucking publicity and name and everything. Dave Grohl.
Correct.
What is Foo Fighters without Dave Grohl? Nothing. No offense to the rest of the band. So don't even get on me about that. Like people like Hayley. Well, yeah, she's the front woman. And she's a female in that role, so she gets even more kind of hoopla about it. But Hayley was signed to the record label before Paramore. They signed Hayley. And then she said, no, I'm in this band. And she was like 13, 14 at the time when Paramore started, don't forget. So like a lot of the issues that they had throughout their careers was because Hayley was signed to the record label and not the band, in a sense. So that's why they nearly broke up before Brand New Eyes. But she wasn't writing lyrics. Well, she was, but not for the full album of All We Know Is Falling and Riot. Yeah. But Brand New Eyes is a great record besides The Only Exception. That is easily their worst piece of shit song. I still listen to it. It's still Paramore, but it's bad. It's a bad song. But back to what I was saying is Misery Business is it's a mid-tier Paramore song, and a lot of people praise it as this. It's a great song. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love that song, but it is nowhere musically, lyrically, it is not even close to their best song, in my opinion. Their best work comes off their last two records, but it's gonna be my personal mission. My New Year's resolution is to get you to appreciate Paramore and After Laughter.
Oh, I'm sure I would. I just
After Laughter, especially because it's so different.
I think it's gonna be hard for me because those three albums came out when I was kind of in the wheelhouse of that
genre of music.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that's when I was in the height of it. I was finding all these new bands,
and
going to all these shows.
And it's like kind of emo, like it's kind of like Against the Grail.
Yeah.
Like I get it.
You know, like that was in the height of everything. Yeah, exactly.
I was 13 when I first discovered Paramore. I was like, fuck the world. You know what I mean? I'm a teenager. I got hair on my balls now. Like, let's fucking go. Like, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
And isn't that a disgusting sentence? Oh, well. But if you use the promo code Love Wrestling, you can have no hair on your balls, right? At manscaped.com.
Manscaped? Oh, Love Wrestling, 20% off. I've been a fan of their product for years.
Me too. So, I've had it for a long time.
They are good stuff.
I'm as clean as a whistle down there, thanks to Manscaped. But anyway, back to Paramore. Which is, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Paramore for this long, but I don't.
Well, it was part of your. I mean,
whatever.
She was one of your albums of the year, so it fits in with what we're doing.
Anyway, but Paramore, it was their last two. I'm sorry, I'm on a mission here. You need to love these last two records because any Paramore stan will tell you that those are their musically, lyrically. Everything just flowed in those two last albums. A lot of people don't love After Laughter as much as they love Paramore. After Laughter is a very different, it's very like 80s new wave, indie pop kind of feel.
Yeah, indie pop,
which I love. And I appreciate when bands evolve and try different things because I like hearing different kinds of sounds. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, they're mainstream. No, After Laughter was probably their least mainstream album out of all of them. It probably got the least mainstream attention because it was such a distant take off of pop punk or whatever you want to call what Paramore was. But you really need to sit down, especially the self-titled record. That record is a masterpiece. Seriously, it has Ain't It Fun? You've heard Ain't It Fun? Ain't it fun? Live it. That's their only Grammy. It's got Part 2, which I've showed you that song. It's Part 2 to Let the Flames Begin. It's got Now it's great. Whatever. Last Hope, which is my favorite song in the entire. I've never had a song I've liked more than that, and I love that song. It was their best touring album. It was their most successful touring album. That was when I think they were peaking in live performance because bands are that genre of music is the best live, and no one can that kind of music is just the best to experience live, and it's better than a pop act. I think it's better than like metal and stuff live. I think that is just the most fun I've ever had at concerts, is going to that pop punk, pop rock, like kind of, that is my wheel. That is my, I think a lot of people know that's my, if I had to pick like a style of music, it's like pop punk, pop rock. Like that's my, I love that style of music. It just gets me going. Like oh my goodness. Like I was a kid that listened to a lot of like Simple Plan and My Chemical Romance and I used to love 30 Seconds to Mars. Oh my God, I used to love 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
Panic at the Disco, like come the fuck on, like Paramore and all of that kind of stuff. Like I used to just adore that kind of music. I still do. I mean, let's be honest, I still listen to the same music I listened to when I was in high school for the most part. But to circle back to everything, that album of Hayley's solo stuff, which is very different from Paramore, was a lot of damn fun. And I just, I really appreciated that, and Scaled and Icy by 21 Pilots. But music will always be a very big part of me. And I'll always kind of, when I always do this. So New Year's Eve, obviously, current COVID restrictions.
Favorite albums
it's like I find the 2021 playlist and I'm just like, what did I vibe this year? And you know how Spotify releases your Wrapped and it gives you the 20.
Yeah, Wrapped. And
I will be playing that. I think I'm doing, I don't know whether we can't really have a big party for New Year's Eve, but I'll have it with a few different people, and everyone's going to put on their 2020. Well, that's what we all said. We're all going to put in our playlists and put them we'll make a big playlist out of all our 2021 playlists and put it all together, and we'll press shuffle. We'll drink some drinks and listen to 2021's kind of.
And that'll be a great friggin' time.
Oh, I love house parties over going anywhere. Like I love a good house.
100%.
How good is a 100%. House party? Oh my God.
House parties are always better.
Oh, you can vibe outside. You can come inside. And we're going to be in the middle we're in the middle of coming up to a heat wave over New Year's. So like when we go outside at like 9 p.m, it's going to be just like beautiful outside. And like, it's just going to be the best. House parties are just, you have loud music. I
love a good house party. I love a good house party.
It's just the best kind of vibe. You drink. I feel like there's less problems because you're in someone else, or in this case, I'll be in someone else's home. But like, I just feel like people are a little bit more respectful because you're not at a club, you're not at a bar. Like people get a little bit more wild. But when you're in someone's house, yes, it's more casual, you're more comfortable. People are always like a little bit more wary of I think that's how I view a house party. Is like people are a little bit more like, okay, this is someone else's house. I'm still gonna get rowdy, but like it's just a lot of fun, and just ringing in the new year is like the best kind of.
I have had some memorable New Year's Eve parties at friends' houses.
Me too.
Feels like a distant memory because we haven't been able to do them the last couple New Year's Eve. But New Year's Eve parties, and really like they're on for me, there's not a ton of house parties anymore, obviously, in my mid-30s. But there's usually a New Year's Eve get-together, and then one of my good friends has a banger of a Halloween party. Ooh. Like whatever Saturday, either before or after, usually before. We don't usually do after. But the Saturday before Halloween, he throws like it's a thing. Like, oh, we're going to Kyle's? Yeah, we're going to Kyle's Halloween party.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so obviously the last couple years we've missed that too, but like, I love those things. Oh. Or like one, like, it starts out as a cookout maybe in the afternoon, then it just turns into like, all right, let's go inside. It's nighttime. The bugs are out. So let's go inside, play some, we call it Beirut, a beer pong or flip cup.
Beer pong. Beer pong. Like, I'm going to play beer pong. So actually, I'm going to show you something I got for Christmas. I'll just entertain the people for like 30 seconds.
Oh God. All right. What do you think he's getting? I mean, it has to do with beer pong, right? Because I said something about beer pong, and he went, "Oh, okay." It's gonna be like,
okay. So my mum, my beautiful mum, she's like, "Hey, Josh, have a good time this New Year's." So she got me a drinking roulette game.
Oh,
and it's got shot glasses in it, and it has like, so I guess you'd go like, you
pour like all different kind of liquors or something like, in there, and then you just roll the ball, and it tells you where to go. Yeah,
I am so excited. My brother. Good. So my brother-in-law, my sister's husband.
You were friends. You were friends.
Yeah, we were friends. So we used to always just be like, when you're like 20 years old and you're like, hey, it's Tuesday night. Let's get fucking wasted. You know what I mean? Because what else have you got to do?
Of course.
So I'd message him sometimes at like 10 p.m. Be like, what are you doing? Let's get fucking drunk. And you do shit like this, or you play beer pong on a Tuesday night at like 11 p.m. It would just be used to. And you get hammered, and you'll be up all fucking night and just be just disastrously drunk.
Piss drunk.
So like we don't do that as much anymore. We're older, we have jobs. Like we just don't do that. But like New Year's, he looked at me in my eyes and he looked at that and he was just like, we're gonna get fucked up. And my sister's not she drinks, but she's not like, I'm gonna get drunk. Like she just likes to be a little bit like
a casual,
so she's gonna be Mum Shaylee on the weekend.
Nice.
Because she's gonna have to take care of her husband and her brother.
Speaking of, I mean, the name of the show, me and my friends, we used to just do power hours.
Yeah, where you just...
That was it.
Yeah.
You just take a shot. You take a shot glass, you just drink beer, and we would we would go on YouTube, we'd do like Disney. And we'd have like Disney theme power hours, or we'd be like, all right, let's metal or whatever. And we would do like 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah. And you just get fucking...
Until we could, and we'd be fucking over. We would just wake up the next day.
Best times. I'm like we both said, I'm not a person that's like getting drunk every weekend anymore. It's just not me. No. I can count the number of times on my hand, like one hand, that I've been drunk this year. But mainly because hey, there was a wedding this year, so I had to be drunk for that. And like my I didn't even drink for my birthday, to be completely honest. A couple of other times during the year, but I like what you said. Like we have a barbecue, a cookout, whatever you want to call it. And it'll just be like 5 or 6 different people. And then all of a sudden you're all just drinking. And you're like, whoa, I've had a few drinks in this thing. And then you're just eating barbecue food. And it's just like, you just don't even realize. Those are the best times. Where sometimes you don't even have the intention. You're just drinking. You're like, I'm just having a good damn time. Like hot weather, like the best. I don't like summer.
You can play games out there, cornhole.
I don't like summer. I'm not a summer guy.
I'm not a huge fan.
I like winter, but like a cider in the summertime on a hot night. It's the best. It's the best. We're gonna have to have a show one. I know it's hard for us because we live in 2 different time zones, but there has to be a time where it can be like midday when we do this show. So it's later in the nighttime for you, and it's acceptable for me to have a drink. At lunchtime, so a bit of a day drink, you know what I mean? And we have like a episode where we have a couple of drinks and just kind of chill out and shoot the shit. On a day where I can. But it does suck with the time difference, because it's like when it's your nighttime, it's 8:30 in the morning, and I don't really feel like having breakfast beers on a fucking Wednesday. You know what I mean? So like, but one day we need to do that kind of shit. One day, I still want to get to the States at one point in my life. And I'm pretty certain.
Make it to Boston. If you make it to Boston, I'm 20 minutes away.
Trust me. We need to. If I go to the States, I'm going to be knocking off a lot of places because I got a lot of people to see. Because I'm only going to do this thing once. That's how I am in life. I'm doing it once. So like, it'll be a thing where I'm just like, all right, I'm going this place, this place, this place, this place to see these people. Like, I would like to do that, and then go across to the other side and go to Canada and see Spencer and Zach and people like that. Because I'm not going to do this all the time, especially in a pandemic. I was going to I said this many times. I wanted to go last year. Didn't happen. I wanted to go this year. Obviously couldn't happen. Who knows what is going to happen in the next 365 days? I don't know if I'm going to be able to leave this country. But I would also I would love for people to come over to Australia. Oh my God. I would show you
It's
everywhere.
on my bucket list.
We talked about it.
It's on my bucket list. The only thing that freaks me out is the spiders. Yeah. And I'm not even scared of spiders. I just don't want to be like, oh, that thing's huge.
Unless you go to we could go to the Gold Coast. Then you would see big spiders. But the Gold Coast is
or snakes. Snakes are my least favorite thing.
If you're surrounded by Australians. There was a snake in my backyard a couple of weekends ago, and I was like, all right, whatever. It'll be fine. He'll slither off.
To me, I would not. Even with you being like, hey, man, it's cool. I'd be like,
fine. They're not going to get inside your house. There's only it's a very rare occasion where they get inside your house or in your toilet or something like that. It's not going to happen. It's just the odds of that happening to you is, and you've got plenty of Australians around that would just be like, you're fine, brother. Don't worry. It's just one of the most venomous snakes in the world. You're fine.
Yeah. And I'll be like, oh.
They're not gonna
to be dead
unless you're literally teasing it or walking on it. It's not going to attack you unless you're
all right.
You're going at it But sometimes, I mean, instances, sometimes people just open their back doors and they're on their back doors and then they think they're attacking you. But that's not the point. You'll be fine.
But that's what I'm saying. You'll
be fine. Just don't go outside.
That would happen to me.
They're only around in summertime. Come here in wintertime. It's not even that cold here in the wintertime anyway. For you, it'd be like a piece of cake. You'd be like, it's fucking hot. It does not get very cold where I live. But yeah, fly on over. Come to Melbourne. I'll take you to Melbourne. We can go fly over to Meth Land, aka Adelaide, and I'll take you through Adelaide, and then you come stay at my house. You got a free accommodation if you get your ass over here.
That'd be pretty good.
Stay at my house, and I'll drive you everywhere. Beautiful. Easy. That is for anyone that knows me. For anyone that knows me, that's listening to this show, like Queen and Spencer, Gabe, all the CFG boys. If you ever want to come to this country, you have a free place to stay, so you can save on accommodation. You don't have to rent out a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that. There. I'm trying to entice you over to this country. Come to me, and then I'll eventually get over to you guys. Who knows?
It's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. I'm
just saying, I could take a couple weeks off work. You get free meals. You get free accommodation. You just have to pay to get over here. I'm not paying for your flights, but I'll take you everywhere.
Free meals.
I'll cook your food.
Why for the whole 2 weeks?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm cooking food anyway. I live alone. I usually throw out a heap of this stuff. It's fucking meals for two. Fuck yeah, I'll cook you some food. You just buy your like takeout and shit. Like if you want to have takeout, you pack and pay for that. But you. I'll accommodate you for 2 weeks or a couple, however long you're going to be here for. You know what I mean? But like, come on, it's a nice deal. There's your offer, limited time only. Use the code Josh Robinson, and you can see what happens. But this country's great, and I want to go to America. Just don't want to get shot, but I'm fine. I want to get shot. See, you're scared of snakes. You're scared of snakes. I'm scared of guns. I was
literally just going to say this. Although we have data that proves that
perhaps maybe
gun safety, gun issues is an issue. But because I live here, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm scared, like, oh, there's snakes and lizards and weird things everywhere. And you're like, no, it's not that bad. And you're like, I'm going to get shot if I just walk outside. Yeah. It's like, no, man, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not like that. It's not like that.
So we both have barriers to get over. Okay. Your fear of snakes and spiders, my fear of guns.
You need to be more scared of the people than you do the guns.
Well, that's also an issue here too, though. Maybe not the guns.
Yeah, but the people are the ones you need to be scared of. The only issue is the people can easily get guns because no one gives a fuck.
True.
Anyway,
there's pros and cons to everything, but just saying, everybody, this country is pretty damn rad when it wants to be, and there's beautiful scenery, and I can take you to a lot of places that you'd be like, wow, we don't have that here. You know what I mean?
100%.
And not only that, come up here, quick, make the gimmick work. Oh, you stupid bitch. Any other time she wants to come up here and she's like,
Giddy.
It's Giddy. So you get to see Giddy as well, which for a lot of people, they come to my content for my cat. And it's Giddy's birthday next month, everybody, the 27th of January. She's turning
How old?
8.
8?
Should be technically classed as a senior cat.
I still got a baby over here. Lou will be 2 in April.
Here she is. Look, here she is.
Yeah.
Not quite on cue. Oh, look how angry she is because I've got her.
Yeah, she's probably like, "Why are you holding me?"
Oh no, she's. Oh, now she's. Boy. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. Let's.
Now she's like, "Ooh, you can keep doing that. You can keep doing that.
Don't get in the way. Don't get in the way. Good girl. But yeah, so Australia, great. So we've talked about a bunch of stuff. Get out the way. Yeah. It's going to be...
you called her up there.
I
called her up there.
I know.
Can't yell at her.
But she was on the desk. Like, she could sit on my lap, but, like, on the desk, and then she just, like... It's just straight asshole into the camera. I can't... I'll get demonetized in a second if I put this on YouTube. So, it is what it is. But, you know, we can't talk about 2021 without talking about wrestling. We've had some pretty extraordinary... We got fans back this year for the first time in basically a year... Well, over a year where we didn't really have fans. For the first time, we've seen a full crowd of fans, I believe was it WrestleMania or did AEW do it first?
I think there was a percentage at WrestleMania, but the first event, did AEW do it like a week before?
I can't remember, but it was around the same time.
Yes, to me, it seems like WrestleMania was like the first big event with fans.
Mania was definitely the first one with like a lot of fans, and man, memories of this year's WrestleMania. I think the obvious is Bianca and Sasha, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole night 1 was excellent. Night
Fantastic.
1 ruled.
Night 2 was
Cesaro and Rollins was awesome. Bianca and Sasha cleared like one of the best moments of the year.
Was that to me that I could be biased because I love those girls and it was a very big moment. The match itself, I think, is one of the better WrestleMania main events ever. Like wrestling, pure wrestling wise. Is it the best Mania main event ever? I don't know. That's arguable, but I think it's in the conversation as one of the better main events ever.
I would agree.
If you were
having an honest discussion about it, it should be mentioned. It should be mentioned.
I agree. I think that moment of Belair and Banks kind of staring at each other and Michael Cole with the call, and Michael Cole gets a lot of crap.
The emotional.
But he said that with all of him. You know what I mean? He said that the first 2 black women to main event WrestleMania. Sometimes I even forget that it was that because the match itself was so quality. Like I think a lot of people look at the triple threat, the first women's main event, and a lot of people are a bit like on the match, but it was still a great moment. It's still women main eventing WrestleMania. I think this one is the opposite in kind of like, it's the first one-on-one match for women of WrestleMania. It's the first 2 black women to ever main event WrestleMania. But like, it gets, some ways in a good way, it gets overshadowed because the match itself was so fantastic. I think it's probably my favorite match of the year. I don't think I've liked a match more than I've liked Belair and Banks. Because don't forget, for me, for everyone it should be, wrestling is sometimes bigger than just wrestling. And this had the kind of, it had everything you want out of a match. The right person won. A star was literally made in a 3 count, in my opinion. Like, Belair was up. And then it was like, this was like the telling moment of like, is she going to be just this magical star? And obviously we know to this day that is correct. Bianca Belair is this star. And I just don't think I've appreciated that hair whip is
incredible.
A WrestleMania moment. WrestleMania is not about matches, it's about moments. We all know that. And that is a all-time WrestleMania moment. It's just like, holy shit. And have like that first main event of the first night, an incredible night. We had, don't forget, by the way, the match that was preceding that was freaking Bad Bunny having the greatest,
which was excellent,
greatest celebrity match of all time, in my opinion. Bad Bunny was fantastic. What a
oh my god, so match. Good. He did a Canadian destroyer
flawlessly. By the way, I know a lot of it was John Morrison, and he doesn't have a job anymore. So, isn't that a fucking shamble? What a fumbled return.
I mean, that's a highlight of wrestling in 2021 for sure. I don't know if we want to go down that road. We want to talk about the good stuff.
Well, hey, let's talk about the bad stuff.
Yeah, we can talk about the good stuff first.
The Iconics were released this year, and it made me fucking sob. Now they're the inspiration, and they're doing great things. Hey, let's, yeah, Bray Wyatt is another one that was
Bray Wyatt, Keith Lee, like a lot. Yeah.
The current, at that stage at the start of the year, the current NXT champion. Well, nearly the current NXT champion at the start of the year, Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, no longer with the company. Scarlett, no longer with the company. Mia Yim, no longer with the company. John Morrison, no longer with the company. Taya Valkyrie, who just got signed at the start of the year, no longer with the company.
All of Hit Row.
We didn't even know Hit Row was a thing at the start of this year.
Correct. And then they came out and everyone was like, wow, this is the coolest thing that they've done in a long time. And then they literally 6 months later, gone.
They diarrheaed it all over the table.
Unreal.
Craziness. We had NXT Black and Gold at the start of this year. That's no longer a thing.
Yeah.
It is now NXT 2.0. We didn't expect that happening. We had
Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole were in one company at the beginning of the year, and then Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson are in a completely different company. Kyle O'Reilly as well. He just showed up. Yeah.
Ruby Soho.
If we're talking Ruby, a lot of them. I know we're talking about matches.
No, go wherever you want.
But like CM Punk coming back.
I mean, that is the moment of the year in wrestling.
I don't know how anything could beat that.
Biased aside of even if you hate CM Punk, that moment is
ridiculous.
It was a moment I never thought would happen.
Like, no, and I think a lot of us never thought it would happen. And then you actually physically saw him come out, and it was like unbelievable. I'm like, I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
But it was just unbelievable. I know your boss let you leave work early.
Exactly.
Oh no, go home on a lunch break.
Go home on a lunch break. Yeah,
right?
so I could just go and watch the thing because I was like, is it really? I think the rumor helped it, to be honest. I know it would have been cool to be.
Oh yeah.
I think, a surprise would have been like, holy fucking what? But I think the rumor of like, this is not going to happen. There's no way that this is going to happen. No matter how many times someone says it's going to happen, it's just not happening. CM Punk will never come back to wrestling. And then obviously CM Punk came back to wrestling and it just one of the greatest.
It was unbelievable.
Just
unbelievable.
I've never felt that emotion. And I like CM Punk. I've said this many times. CM Punk was never my guy, but I've always really appreciated CM Punk. But like, I could imagine if I felt like that watching him come back. Imagine what the biggest CM Punk stan in the world would be feeling like. They must have literally shit their pants. Like,
there was that one guy that was crying.
I cried.
And that everyone shit on the internet. Yeah, 100%.
What the fuck? It's emotional. I was like, it's CM Punk coming back to wrestling. Like, it was just. I've watched that moment so many times. That pop is.
Oh my god, yeah.
Monstrous. And then other like pops in wrestling. Crowds have given us back pops in wrestling. Like, I think some people underestimate the pop John Cena got coming back at Money in the Bank. If you ever actually watch that back, it's massive. Big E winning Money in the Bank and then cashing in Money in the Bank. Two huge moments. Like, huge moments. Other people returning and stuff. Becky Lynch coming back at SummerSlam. Yes, okay. The circumstances.
No, it was a huge pop. It was a huge pop. And then what happened absolutely killed the crowd.
But also, Becky Lynch has become a great heel in 2021. So, and I didn't think that they would ever get to that stage where Becky Lynch could be a heel because she's so beloved, but she's doing a great job. You had Brock Lesnar coming back at SummerSlam too was a big pop. Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, Bryan Danielson, monstrous pops.
The Adam Cole pop that he gets on a regular basis.
It's ridiculous, by the way.
It's like it's the loudest pop in wrestling, I think.
Yeah,
like
you know who
standard.
Else gets,
like it's every week. It's week over week over week.
Consistently, I don't know why I've noticed this in AEW. But consistently, Thunder Rosa gets.
She's huge. Yeah, because she's awesome.
I know, but like,
I love Thunder Rosa.
She is rivaling some of the biggest stars in the company.
Oh yeah,
the pop, like it goes and people go like fucking bananas.
Yeah, they're like, oh yes.
By the way, her and Jade Cargill this week, isn't it? Oh well, it would already be
Wednesday
over.
Night. Oh, it would have happened last night.
It would have happened, yes. It would for us Australians. It would have happened this morning. But my God, that's going to be very interesting to see Jade and Thunder Rosa. We'll obviously This is redundant, but Jade, come on.
Most likely Jade Cargill.
Jade and Ruby in the final. Come on, but I mean Ruby and Thunder Rosa.
Oh my God, that'd be fantastic.
But this is Jade.
It's not going to happen. I'm convinced Jade Cargill is winning the title.
She's not going to lose. Belt. She's never been beat, has she? She's undefeated, right?
No. Although, if you've watched some of the match, and the match that she had with Red Velvet was not impressive to me. It made me worried a bit.
Jade Cargill is. Let's call a spade a spade. Jade Cargill. She's green. But you can't teach experience. You have to gain experience. And being in the ring with Thunder Rosa, being in the ring with Ruby Soho potentially, being in the ring with whoever is, Red Velvet is not an experienced wrestler. No offense to Red Velvet. That's not a knock. It's just a factual statement.
Yeah.
They're both.
I definitely, I'm very intrigued, even though we're talking, it already happened. But I'm intrigued to see how the match goes. Because I think so. Obviously, if she goes against Thunder Rosa, and let's say the match isn't that great,
you're gonna be worried.
Whatever. If you're Tony Khan or you're AEW, are you like, do we maybe put this on Ruby, and then that'll be Jade's first loss in a high-profile match? A loss is okay.
Okay, yeah.
And then
on the first episode on TBS, like I get where that could come from, but.
I'm saying
if you can't have a good match with Thunder Rosa,
you gotta question it, right?
Well, Thunder Rosa is one of the better workers.
She can walk you to a good match. Yeah, she should be able to sleepwalk most people to a good match.
Her, Serena Deeb, like
Ruby
Soho. Like if you can't have a okay to great match with those three ladies, then you probably need to reevaluate some things. But Jade is very green. But to be honest, a lot of stuff we've seen of Jade haven't really gone the distance because they're very quick matches.
Yeah. And I don't like that match that she had. And again, I'm just using the match. It's the only match, the most recent match in the tournament with her. That was her longest match to date.
Red Velvet is not experienced, though. No disrespect to Red Velvet.
Not to the level of Thunder Rosa.
I don't love Red Velvet, and I've pretty openly said that before. I don't love Red Velvet, but it's just subjective, everybody. I'm not saying I dislike.
Yeah, that's fine.
It just is what it is. It is when you think about it, it's like, oh, Jade Cargill is being put in a position with a brand new championship. If she wins, by the way, we're not saying that she's going to win. We don't know. We could be talking about this and being
a lot of people think that.
I just think she needs it the most. I don't necessarily think that Thunder Rosa. I think Thunder Rosa should be wrestling Britt Baker, and I think that's where everyone's I think that's where we're going to, right? Is Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker at some point?
Yeah, I think Thunder Rosa would have lost the match that happened.
No disrespect to Riho or anything like that, but Britt's going to go through Riho, and Britt's going to go through and I think Revolution would be Britt, Thunder Rosa potentially main eventing that show, in my opinion.
It's possible. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well,
I'd be okay with that. Or I'd be okay. I mean, I don't know if you can.
Women should be.
I don't know if you can push it off till May. Well, Double or Nothing is one of their big two. But
I thought they said Revolution was their biggest show. Isn't that what Tony Khan said? Did I make that up out of thin air? I could have.
He might have. I feel like he says that about a lot of stuff.
He does.
I think he says, this is going to be our biggest Dynamite to date, like every week.
Which he should, by the way. I went on.
He's a promoter. I got no problem with it.
Vince should do the same thing and saying this is the biggest match in Raw history. You should be saying that. Otherwise, you probably got an issue.
The greatest wrestling match of all time.
Yeah, the most. What is WrestleMania? The most stupendous 2 nights in WrestleMania history. Is that what it's? Is that the word that they're using? For stupendous.
Yeah,
which is a dumb word.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I just feel like
I don't know. But anyway, we could be talking about this and it could be completely dumb because Thunder Rosa could win.
It's true, right? Imagine that. Wow.
But I mean, that's the good thing about AEW is that, hey, anyone can win in AEW. Like I genuinely, for the most part, I'm always like, it could go either way. Like a couple of weeks, TBS, Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page are wrestling. And there's a little part of me that's like, maybe Bryan's going to win. We don't have a lot of short title reigns in AEW, and sometimes, listen, AEW is fantastic at giving us what we want, but we can't have that all the time because it's not going to feel special. They need to do some other things because they're always giving us what we want for the 95% of the time. And why that's great, because they need to really distance themselves from doing stuff that we don't want because we see it so much on the other side of things. However, there's nowhere to really go if they just always win. And I'm not saying Hangman Adam Page is just going to lose and then that's, oh my God, boo. Like, not necessarily that. But sometimes it's like, oh my God, Hangman lost. We thought he was going to hold this for 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, why has he lost already? Yeah. And then the journey is always better than the destination, guys. Wrestling still needs heels to win. And I know Kenny was a very heel champ and he was obviously... But sometimes it's okay to just put something in for a shock value because you still need to shock people in wrestling sometimes. And I think AW are like this a lot of the time where it's like we're getting all we want, but then there's no chase in something. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And that's not a knock, everybody. I'm not trying to knock on AW. They do a great job at giving us feel-good moments, but sometimes we do need to feel like we're getting stabbed in the face sometimes with wrestling. That's wrestling, in my opinion.
I agree. I just, I could see Danielson. I thought they were, and you want to talk about one of the,
is he the best wrestler of 20? Is he the best wrestler of 2021? And he didn't even wrestle for the majority of it. Yeah. Brian.
Yeah, I think
I don't think he wrestled, you think of January to April in the run he had with Roman.
He was in the main event of WrestleMania, and that triple threat match
doesn't get enough love.
That was a good match.
Does not get enough love. It is very freaking good.
Really good.
Brian was doing, really good. Daniel Bryan at the time was doing fantastic. That match he had with Roman Reigns, the very last match he had on SmackDown, where it was like loser leaves SmackDown or whatever it was, and he lost. Phenomenal. Like a phenomenal match with Roman. And to say kind of at that stage, we didn't know whether he was leaving WWE, whether he was leaving wrestling in general, because he openly said, I was not sure. And he also openly said, I love WWE. I love where I am. And he's open. I think he still says that to this day. He loves Vince. He has a great relationship with Vince.
He said it in his first night at AEW, he said, "Oh, hey, I loved where I worked."
And he also was
Adam Cole said the same thing.
Yeah, they both very trash WWE, which is really nice. Brian had said openly in that first media thing that he said, I didn't know if I wanted to leave because of the position it would put my wife in. Because you got to think that comes into I know a lot of people but it is what it is, like a lot of people, but Bree and Nikki have a lot of business adventures with WWE. You got to think that would be a conversation of if you go here, we can no longer do a reality show. That means we can no longer gain that income. You got to think of other things. So, and he didn't know whether he was going to wrestle again, and then to come over to AEW and have world-class matches like he was having in WWE. They're very different styles of wrestling. It's a little more snug, a little more rough around the edges. And to have him as a fucking heel by the end of the year.
Oh my God.
How do you
so
have
good.
Brian Danielson as a heel in 2021 is beyond me. Yeah. And it works.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it works 100%. That match that he had, look at
Kenny. Oh.
He had the match with Omega. Incredible. Just 30-minute time limit. Fantastic. And that was given to us for free on Dynamite. Absurd. And then he just goes, all right, cool. Let me and Hangman go an hour.
Which
and
was
they went
better?
An hour. And that match.
Which was better? Put on the spot.
I feel like it's going to be.
Gun to the head.
I think it's going to be a little bit of recency bias. But I would have to say the Omega one. The Omega
I
Brian
agree.
Danielson one.
Okay, here's the thing with a 60-minute match.
Yes. Go ahead.
I love the fact that they went for that long. And by the way, Brian was stalling a lot in that match. I'm like, he's going the distance. They're going the fucking... It was on first. I'm like, they're going the fucking distance. This is really happening. Okay.
I'll let you finish, but I have something to say about this at the end.
Okay. So, Wyatt's great. And without it, you wouldn't get the last 3 minutes. But the last 3 minutes is the only time I was really interested. Not interested. That's the wrong word to use. I was interested. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God.
On alert.
Oh my God. This is like, someone please fucking win. And they had all their false finishes in that 3 minutes. It's kind of like, not redundant what they do up until that stage, but you're going to get to that point regardless. So as long as that 3 minutes is good, I'm going to be, jerking off. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But with Kenny and Brian, it was a little bit more, oh my God, this nearly ended. There was no point in the 55 minutes before that last section of the match that I thought it was going to end.
Yeah.
Do you get that? I'm not taking away. It was a phenomenal match, but there was a little bit less of the edge of my seat stuff. I don't think that's a criticism, is it?
Well, no, because like you said, when you're going an hour, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like it was a boring snooze fest for 57 minutes. But when you're going an hour, you're not going an hour straight of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It was the first, handful of minutes. Brian was putting half his body out of the rope, so Hangman couldn't get to him, So they start doing that, and then they're figuring each other out, and then there's a flurry, and then there's a kick out, and then there's a flurry. Then it's another 10 minutes of figuring it out, and blah, blah, blah. So I think Hangman should have won. That's my only. That's okay. Now I get it. We're getting the rematch. The rematch is going to be excellent. I have no doubts. What we just saw, and this is going to be, I'm assuming, a more just regularly timed match.
I think this one's going to be
better.
And I think
it's
going
to be quick, like a sprint.
No. I think they're going to. I think they're both going to go on the intention with ending it quick. So there's going to be a lot of falsies at the very, oh my God, this is ending. Oh my God. I think it's going to be a lot more like that. The match might not, I don't think it will go 60 minutes again, but I think we'll get a length out of it, but it'll be a lot more fast paced because they're just trying to, what can I do to end this instead of stalling around? I think it's going to be a lot faster. I think this one will be better too, to be completely honest.
I do too. But my thing is we're getting the rematch. I'm not upset about having to watch that match again in a couple of weeks. I'm pumped for it. It's going to be great. For me, that crowd was hot. And when Justin Roberts said there's 1 minute remaining, Hangman hit the buckshot, and he did. I think they should have had him win.
I don't. I like the way that ended, to be honest. But that's just.
I think that would have been.
But hey,
if Hangman wins right at the end,
maybe Hangman will win in 8 seconds in this match. Who knows?
I think that he's already made, but I think that that's a different level for Hangman.
Yeah,
if he beats him.
I get what you're saying. You know? I get what you're saying. Brian's first loss in AEW could be
almost go an hour. Like they go 59 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that, and he just gets the best of them right at the end or something. And it would have been like, oh, again. And this is the thing. Like I kind of agree with you that I think Brian Danielson has a really good chance of maybe winning.
It's gonna be interesting.
It is because I always had envisioned that MJF would be the guy that would take the belt off Hangman. Then he would be the next champ, but now who knows?
Who knows?
But I thought Hangman's match speaking of matches of the year, Hangman's match with Omega to win the title was amazing.
Really good, yeah.
Young Bucks and Lucha Bros from All Out, that tag match in the cage was really, really good.
Britt and Thunder Rosa from
Britt and Thunder Rosa. That was my next one. I wanted to talk about that
that was this year, and it doesn't feel like sometimes that was this year.
Britt lost that match, by the way.
Yeah.
Britt was ascending, even though she didn't wrestle a ton because she was injured. Like she was cutting promos, and that's why we started to fall in love with this character, because she found her own. She found her character. That match with Thunder Rosa is what, to me, and I think I don't know if you agree with me.
Oh, I agree.
But like that's the match that was like, she's a star, good to go. She was bleeding. They had, it was just. I was not expecting that type of match.
Me either.
I was not. I was expecting, okay, this is going to be a street fight, some chairs, maybe some
kendo
I was not expecting. Yeah, I was not expecting that type of match, and it was, in my opinion, again, we have the Omega Danielson match, but that was my match of the year for more than half the year. I was like, I think that was incredible.
I think that was the most impactful match of the year. As opposed, okay, so Kenny and Brian, regardless of that match, they're made stars.
Yeah.
With maybe the exception of Belair coming out of WrestleMania, who was a bigger star coming out of a match than that match with Britt? Britt
was unbelievable.
Thunder was already at a spot where it was kind of like, okay, Thunder Rosa's great. We know she's great, but we've seen Britt become a great promo, but like we need Britt to have this match. And like you said, a lot of people just assume that she won that match. Britt lost.
No, she lost.
Britt lost clean in that match. As clean as you can be in a lights out street fight.
Thumbtacks and all sorts.
You know
of
what
stuff,
I mean?
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, Britt became the AEW Women's World Champion. Is now, no doubt in anyone's mind, one of the top stars in AEW. There's no question about.
They routinely mention how CM Punk routinely mentions that she's a pillar.
She's a pillar. So
routinely,
and that's not just a thrown away line. That is that's a, you know what I mean? That's like
multiple
a bullet
times
point.
Said it.
Okay,
yes,
make sure you get this in, kind of, get your shit in with Britt. And she is a pillar of that company. She is, in my opinion. So, and I think in a lot of people's opinion, in CM Punk's opinion, and I think his opinion means something. But that match was one of the best matches, one of my favorite matches. I shouldn't say best, I should just say favorite, because it's all subjective.
Favorite, yeah.
One of my favorite matches of the year. Is Kenny and Brian your personal match of the year?
Oh God.
What is your personal match of the year, I guess, is the best question.
So I think the Britt Thunder Rosa match is up there. I think the main event at Mania with Sasha and Belair is up there. I also think Walter versus Ilya Dragunov at the TakeOver for the United Kingdom match was one of, in the moment, and I watched it a couple times with the couple days after, and I probably should go back. Maybe I'll do that this year. Maybe on New Year's Eve, I'll watch my favorite match. Incredible. Like, I was watching that in a hotel room. Me and Spencer stayed in Vegas. We stayed in Vegas that Sunday. We both flew out on Monday. So that Sunday afternoon, we just ordered some pizza and we watched it on a laptop in the hotel room. And
so good,
I remember that match. We were both like losing our minds, like, holy shit. They are beating the hell out of each other.
That match is so good.
It's so good. It's very hard for me to pick a better match than that one, I think, because it was so early. It was in April. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't early. It was in August.
Yeah.
I just forgot. For some reason,
you just thought Mania.
I just feel like it got, even to me, it gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, but it was so good. Walter also had a great match with Tommaso Ciampa. That's the one at Mania weekend. That was really, really good. But yeah, I think the match that I remember the most though is the Britt and Thunder Rosa. I just remember it was the main event of Dynamite.
So
and
that's your
women don't really.
Year?
I was like, women. Yeah, I'm a huge Britt Baker guy.
Oh, I know that.
Britt Baker guy.
I think everyone is.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, I would say it's either that or. Yeah, I'd say it's either that think it is, or I actually.
If you're hesitating a lot, I feel like it is that.
Yeah,
I feel like it is that.
I think I'm just trying to find another one, but I think it's either that or Walter Dragunov for me. I think those are my top two.
Intuition. Mine is probably Bianca and Sasha. I just don't think I've loved. I say both of those names so Australian, and I can't help it. It's just I'm sorry. That's just the way we say Sasha and Bianca instead of Bianca and Sasha. I say Bianca and Sasha. Just this is the way we.
It's the accent, yeah.
Whatever.
How about that though? We both our matches of the years involve the ladies,
as it fucking should, because they're the reason I watch wrestling. I'm certainly not watching for any other reason, because I wouldn't be if the ladies weren't killing it on a constant basis. Okay, well, all right. Well, what about a little bit of seeing as we both had very obvious kind of, a lot of people saying, well, what about it like a maybe underrated, maybe under the radar kind of match that you can think of that you're like, hey, not enough people, maybe it is the Dragunov match with Walter, but what is kind of maybe that one that kind of floated under the surface that's like, hey, that match was actually fucking phenomenal?
The latter, okay, and I think we did, when we're talking about wrestlers of the year, I know we just kind of went straight to Danielson. I think that is doing Roman Reigns a little bit of a disservice.
Ooh, Roman, yeah.
Roman Reigns is the only wrestler in any company that has been champion from
start
the whole
finish,
year, from day one of 2021 through 365 day one. Yeah. And regardless of whether you have, you feel like the storyline's a little boring now or like played out or whatever, the matches that he's had have all been good.
Yeah. He doesn't have bad matches.
Been good. No. And I thought, I am a huge Kevin Owens guy. Kevin Owens guy. The cage match that he had on SmackDown.
Was that like on was like a New Year's Day SmackDown or something
I don't think it was a New Year. There was some sort of special holiday, maybe.
Maybe it was like, was it like the first SmackDown of the year or something like that?
It might have been maybe the first SmackDown. Yeah, because they were feuding around that time.
Yeah.
The cage match that they had on that SmackDown is
really, I remember that. It was really
one of the better cage matches. It may have even
been at the end of 2020, to be completely fair.
Oh, if it is, but then it doesn't count, though.
But it kind of does. I mean,
it doesn't
whatever,
count. But
whatever.
It
regardless, I do remember that match, and it is really, really, really good.
I thought that whole thing, it was he had the first feud with Jay. That was Roman's first, like, I'm turning heel feud is going to be me torturing my cousin type
basically,
thing, right?
Yeah. After winning the
and then the next guy that he really feuded with was Owens. Owens was that real first guy.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I feel like it's been so far long ago. I thought that feud with Owens was incredible. He's still to this day, they're on separate shows now, so it doesn't matter. He never beat Owens clean. He never clean. In those 3 matches, he beat him all 3 times.
Yeah, he did.
And not once did he beat him clean.
Yeah.
It was always shenanigans.
Their last man standing match at the Rumble was really good too.
Incredible.
Really good.
They had the botch spot with the handcuffs or whatnot, which kind of tamed it a little bit.
Was that Heyman?
But that match in general was excellent.
Yeah, really. That really was. The golf cart. Boom. Run him over. That was great stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
You know
what people don't talk about enough? The trilogy that Edge and Rollins had. Their SummerSlam match is fucking awesome.
It was the best match of the show. It was the best match of the show by far.
And their Hell in a Cell one of the best. I know it was at Crown Jewel. I know. But it was one of the best modern day Hell in a Cells that I've ever seen.
Yeah,
modern day.
It was the best match on that. I think it was the best match on that show too. And Crown
Jewel,
I don't watch it. I don't support
threat match with Sasha,
was excellent.
Becky and Bianca was
so good,
fucking awesome. And it was that or the Hell in a Cell. But I didn't watch everything of Crown Jewel because I didn't either. Want to. I watched that match. I watched the triple threat, and I watched
Roman and Brock.
I didn't watch Roman and Brock. I watched Zelina and Doudrop because I like the girls. I don't think I watched anything else.
No.
Which is, fair, but I understand people may have never seen those two matches because they're at Crown Jewel. And
those two matches are the two matches to see. That triple threat match was really, you can get past
watching, which I understand if you can't. But if you do want to check anything out from that show, I would recommend the triple threat and the Hell in a Cell. It's a toss up for me between what was better. It's a real toss-up because that Hell in a Cell, though. The Edge and Rollins feud, they had 3 matches. They had the one at SummerSlam, the one on SmackDown in MSG, and the one at Crown Jewel. Really, really awesome work. Genuinely. Yep. Edge is... I don't know if we talk about Edge enough of actually how valued he is to have around again. Because, hey, listen, Edge isn't going to be wrestling for 20 more years. It's going to be maybe a year, 2... 3 tops of him actively wrestling. By the way, Edge might be considered a part-timer, but he's the most active part-timer on that roster. He wrestles. He called in to do a live event because of the COVID outbreak that's going on in WWE at the moment. He was called in to work with Owens. By the way, Edge and Owens, give me that.
They had a cage match.
Yeah, give me that. I want to see that.
Once he gets through the Miz with what they're doing with the Miz, I would be A-okay with Edge and Kevin Owens.
Edge and Owens would be great.
I think they're going to go Edge, and I still have a feeling they're just doing Edge and AJ at Mania. I just feel like that's where they're going to go.
Can we do that though? Because I would really like to see that. That's a dream match.
Oh my god!
It's a dream match.
And I think that's what we're gonna get. I think that's the Mania match, but we got a long ways. We still got the Rumble and.
Well, I got the Rumble. I don't care. I know that we could potentially. There is a possibility that WWE could go back to the Thunderdome. Let's just call a spade a spade.
A Royal Rumble is my favorite. It's what I'm ready for.
I'm going to have people in my house. I'm going to be the crowd. It does not matter to. Of course, I would prefer a crowd. We haven't had a crowd for the Rumble in 2 years. I want a crowd. I want pops. But I don't care if it's in the backyard of Vince McMahon's fucking home. I want the Rumble, and I'm very ready for the Rumble. And listen, whether they go back to the Thunderdome, the PC, it don't matter. It's a Rumble.
Nope.
It's the best wrestling thing of the year. Sorry to every other wrestling promotion in the world. My eyes are on the Rumble for those 4 hours, however long it's on, those 2 Rumble matches. I am just like, this is the best thing in wrestling. It's better than WrestleMania. It's just better than WrestleMania.
No,
if I didn't watch wrestling all year, I didn't watch wrestling anymore, I would still tune in for the Rumble.
So if they were like, hey, you can watch one event
Rumble
per year.
Even
Rumble's,
a shitty,
without
awful,
question, your number
disgusting, horrible dog shit Rumble, it's still a Royal Rumble. You still get the countdown. You still like, who's coming out next? I just like that.
Still like, oh, let's get a couple surprises. There's going to be a couple.
Here, okay, WWE's had a lot of releases. It's horrible, but they don't even have enough women to fill a Rumble anymore. So that means that there's surprises.
Yeah,
I know that's a really awful way to look at things, but silver lining. They've released so many people, especially women, by the way. They've released a lot of women. That means you're going to get surprises and you're going to get NXT superstars. Well, I don't know what they'll do with NXT this year because NXT is no longer like that third brand anymore. NXT's developmental.
No, it's straight up developmental, though. So if they think
Braun
somebody's
Breaker's
ready,
going to be in the Rumble. He might not win.
I think he's got to be one of the favorites.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. But
I think he has to be.
You know what? Let's for 2022... by the way, before we go to 2022, I just want you to answer this. 2021 Wrestler of the Year. Go. What's the first name? Go.
To me, it's Bryan Danielson.
Bianca Belair.
Fully, yep. 100%. I think a little bit of a stumble at the end. A little bit of a stumble, but she's back on track now. But I feel like the whole summer, I think the SummerSlam thing kind of
I don't think there was a moment. I don't think there was a moment after SummerSlam that we didn't look at Bianca as a star.
I agree. She was.
I don't think it didn't hurt. Okay, sure, it would have been way better if she just they went a different route. But I don't think it hurt her.
No,
if anything, I got more sympathy for her, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So it probably, I hate defending it, but it probably did its job. Because everybody,
I mean,
at
like
this,
I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but her lifting up Dewdrop was
oh my god, that's one of the moments of the year.
Yeah,
it's up there with one of those moments. But all right, let's talk 2022. In 2022, the breakout star of the industry will be
of the industry. So any company, Braun Breaker,
Liv Morgan.
Sorry, I know it's cliche.
I think it's still going to be Liv. I think this time next year,
I'm all on board. You know how I feel about Liv Morgan.
This time next year, I think we'll be saying the wrestler of the year this year, or the person that's had the most impact on the business this year, is Liv Morgan. I think she could become the next Charlotte Becky. I genuinely think that. Like, I genuinely think that.
I would be very happy with that. I would be very happy with that. I'm
because she's not a fundamentally, like, bell for bell perfect wrestler. And guess who else wasn't? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Guess who else wasn't? The Rock. Guess who else wasn't? John Cena. All of these people are not the most fundamentally sound, but they bring something else that isn't just wrestling. They bring something else, and Liv has this star. I hate saying this because it's so cliche, but she has it. She has it about her that you just like, yeah. And I put Liv Morgan over every time I get a chance to, and we don't know if what's going to happen at day one. I hope if Becky is wrestling, we don't know. I hope Becky beats Liv at day one. I hope she wins, because that means Liv Morgan can win the Rumble and then go into WrestleMania and have a moment.
Liv Morgan is. I have two people that I want to win.
I was going to ask this next because it's 2022, so we may as well just roll into it. 2022 Rumble winners, go for it.
I have two people that I want to win the Women's Rumble. One is Liv Morgan, and two is a returning Bayley. If she is healthy enough to do so.
Months.
Well, returning Bayley is actually my number one. That's like the number one scenario that I want. But Liv Morgan is
her old music.
I love Bayley. I wouldn't care either way. Bayley is my favorite women's wrestler in WWE.
Imagine that pop of like the old Bayley music. I know we all love.
Do you think it would get? But do you think?
I think it would get a bigger pop.
It would get a huge. She's getting a huge pop. She's gonna get one of those like, "Hey, we missed you," pops. Like, I don't care if you're good or bad. Like, we love you. We missed you. You know. So like, by the way, Rollins came back when Rollins ruined his knee.
We have potential for a lot of women coming back in the Rumble. Bayley, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans.
Asuka would be great. Yeah, Lacey Evans has been out. Yeah, that's a good one.
She's roaring to go. Have you seen the phenomenal shape that woman is in 3 months after having a baby? She's posted it. Go on her Instagram, and I'm like, you had a baby 3 months ago. Oh, by the way, your account messaged me yesterday.
Oh, did it?
They tried to get me
not that I think most people that watch would probably follow me on Instagram. Don't
your
anymore.
Name. Yeah. Don't follow. Until
follow me on the Twitter. Follow me. You know, where on the Twitter is more than good. I'm always on there. My Instagram got hacked, so I have not had access to it for literally going on a week now almost.
Loves a bit of Bitcoin. You know. Loves it.
Yeah, I'm winning new cars apparently. Like,
I did see that one. I was like, you know what the best part about that car was? It was an Australian car. It was a Holden.
Was it? I can't even get in there.
I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. Americans don't have Holdens. I was like, that's an Australian car with an Australian license plate, by the way. Well, it's straight from fucking Melbourne. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like,
I don't know how it happened.
JPJ's lied to me because he's in Australia. Why isn't he the fuck flying over Adelaide? I was like, why has he got a Holden? You can't even get them in America. So I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I was like, good for you, though.
But it's been a time. Luckily, I mean, I know. I have an Instagram. I had an Instagram. I obviously used it, but it was not it was probably the biggest social platform that I used the least. So it hasn't changed I used it for promoting. Like you would share that we had a show out. I would, I used it for that. I would take, I used it, but of all the social media platforms, it's the one I use the least.
My Instagram game is terrible.
So it was just one of those things where it hasn't changed my everyday life at all that I can't go on Instagram. It's just annoying because when I'm bored and I'm like,
why don't you just create another one?
That's what I'm going to have to do, but I'm just waiting to see if Instagram is going to actually do anything. Everyone I know has reported the account and said that it's been hacked.
Them? Did you email them?
I did. I emailed them. I messaged them. There was a phone number to call that got me nowhere. So I'm waiting to see if they're actually going to even pretend they give a shit, which they probably don't. It's owned by Facebook.
If you
I fucking doubt it.
Publicly tweet them, and then they get on shit because they don't like it publicly shared. That they're not doing anything.
Maybe I will.
Tweet them
I'll
and say,
like,
hey, at Instagram, help me.
Yeah, it's been over a fucking week. Can I have my account back, assholes, or something like that? I just thought I'd kind of be mean.
Get people to screenshot the stuff that's going on and be like, hey, this person's hacked my account. I want my account back. Can you please give me access? They've changed the email and all that, but whatever. Hey, any person out there that's listening to the show, if you know how to get back into a hacked Instagram account,
yeah, let me know.
Let me know. Let JPJ know, and I can. If you're,
I've done everything. I followed every step on the Instagram ways to do it. The shit ain't working. So I need to figure out a way to get in there because I really don't want to have to make another one. I will. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to have to make another one. So if you know how to do it,
JPJ,
please.
I don't want to have to change this fucking graphic. That seems like work for me.
Exactly.
I'll put a big cross. I'll put a big cross in the
Instagram.
Not Insta. By the way, everybody that's watching this, do not follow that Instagram account that's listed on this graphic for JPJ because you'll be buying bitcoins and
you can report it though if you want to report it as hacked.
Actually, that's a great idea. That's why I left it here. Great. I'll edit this so it sounds like I'm smarty. That Instagram account, go and report it and say they're impersonating JPJ because
they are.
They are really. They
jerks. Jerks. It was Christmas week too. Like what the hell?
What the fuck?
What are you doing?
Merry fucking Christmas, I guess.
People.
Okay. Well, you said the women's. So for my women's Royal Rumble pick, it's a bit of a left field. I think Bianca Belair's actually going to win the Royal Rumble again.
Oh, back-to-back years. That'd
be
good.
I think she's going to go with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That's my opinion because I think that there's just something about how they've positioned Belair, and back-to-back, maybe she'll run the Rumble again.
That'd be the first time back-to-back happened since Austin? Austin won 3 in a row, and Shawn Michaels won.
Well, he won 2 in a row, didn't he? And then he did 98, 90.
He technically won 97, but he was eliminated, and the refs didn't see it, so they had a final 4 match.
Was he 97, 98, and 2001? Didn't he win?
No, he was 97, 98, 99. He won 3 in a row.
He did not win 99, did he?
Yeah, he won 3 in a row. But one of them didn't technically count. 97 didn't technically. I'm probably getting the years wrong.
Hold up.
I need to look 98, he definitely won because that's when he won the world title. He definitely won 99 because he won the world title at 15. In 1997, Bret Hart eliminated him. Right?
Royal Rumble.
Bret Hart eliminated him.
I'm
Royal Rumble 97. Yeah. Bret Hart eliminated him, but the ref wasn't paying attention, so Stone Cold slid back into the ring and technically won the Royal Rumble. And then video footage came out. So then they had an in-your-house final 4.
You're wrong.
I think it was Bret Hart.
Are wrong. You are wrong, my friend. 97, Stone Cold. 98, Stone Cold. 99 was Mr. McMahon.
Oh.
In 2001, Stone Cold.
Oh, I thought he won 3 in a row.
It was Vince. Remember Vince?
So it was 97 and 98.
97, 98, and 2001. Because Miss McMahon
won
in 99.
Is he the only 3-time? No.
Yeah,
he's the only
Randy.
3-time winner?
Randy's 3-time as well.
Okay.
Randy won in 2009, 2000.
The Bray Wyatt year, 2000.
So Randy won in 2009. No, Randy's a 2-time.
2-time, yeah. 2009 and what?
2017.
17?
Yeah.
17?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cena's won it.
Cena's won it twice.
Cena's won it twice.
2008. 2008 and 2018, maybe?
We're going to do like a whole Rumble episode, but I mean...
We should. In January, we should, absolutely.
Yeah. So 97, 98, and 2001 is Stone Cold, because Miss McMahon won in 99, and then Rock won in 2000.
Gotcha. Damn, I thought for some reason there was 3 in a row.
But it's 3 overall, but he's the most overall.
Yeah.
And then Sheamus... No, Sheamus has only won once. Edge has won twice.
Shawn Michaels? Just once? 95? Did he win 2?
No, he went back to back. 95, 96.
95, 96? Yeah.
So there was 4 years where it was back to back. Because it was Sean, Steve.
Yeah.
Damn, good
Not bad.
for them. But yeah, so
Yep.
Bianca I think will win the women's Royal Rumble. I just think she's positioned in this way where I'm like, I think you're gonna go back to back, and I think first
I'll be okay
woman
with
to
that.
do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No woman has ever done it
I think
before.
for me, I don't know who's gonna win the men's Rumble.
Yeah, me either.
At all.
Like I don't know at all. Like the women, I can kind of not narrow down because there's still a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of possibilities that they could go, but I'm just like for the men, I'm like, I have literally no idea. Which is a good thing, by the way. Keep it like that.
Yes.
Because I like when the last few Rumbles for both sides, men and women, I've kind of like had my group that I'm like, one of these people are going to win. Mm-hmm. And I don't like that in Rumbles. I like being completely just oblivious to the Rumble because I just like to be like, I don't read spoilers for the Rumble. I don't go on like,
me neither.
I don't like really going on Twitter too much before the Rumble because I don't like seeing like this person was, I just like being completely and utterly, it's probably the only match of the year where I'm invested to the point where it's like, I don't think about dirt sheets. I don't think about, but this person can't win because of the backstage. I don't think about any of that. Like, I'm in there like any of these 30 people could win this Royal Rumble match. And we like do like, so this is really, some people probably think this is pathetic, but I don't. I get, as I've gotten older, it's become alcohol instead of like chocolate and stuff. But we get this, I have a Royal Rumble viewing party and everyone puts in so much money to get like alcohol or snacks or something, and it's like this big thing. Mm-hmm. And everyone pulls out, like, say if there's 6 people here, we all pull out a couple of numbers, and if your number wins you get that pool of goodies basically.
Yeah.
So like we all have numbers and then your numbers. So I might say I drew like 22. I remember one year my brother got like 24 and it was Dana Brooke, and Dylan just went, oh no. Like, I don't think I'm going to win this Royal Rumble with this number. But we all just draw a number out of a thing or like a randomizer.
I do that. I do that too. I've done that multiple times, and then I used to, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to create like a questionnaire.
Oh, so it would be like
ranked.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, pick who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Pick who the runner-up's going to be. Pick the final 4.
Pick like the longest,
number 1, the number 30.
Yeah, like pick like the longest duration. Who's going to get the most eliminations? Like, and you would record.
Exactly. And you would do that, and everything would be like point-based, and then you would add up the points.
Oh.
And then the winner would get. You'd throw $10 in, $20
whatever it may be. And like I always like the weekend or like the week. Few days before the Rumble, I always watch old Rumbles. I play like the 2K games or like wrestling games, and we go through all of the library of wrestling games, and we play the Rumbles from every game, and we just like, I do that all the time. Like,
you know what we should do now, because I'm a degenerate, is we should try to get the Love Wrestling crew and be like, hey guys, $10, fun, $5, whatever.
That.
Let's do a Royal Rumble pool. And I could create, or we could create a questionnaire and be like, hey, let's just see who win, whatever.
That would be fun. We'd have to have someone to monitor it, but it wouldn't be hard to do.
No.
Like,
put it all in like an Excel sheet or whatever, and then you figure it out.
Oh, that'd be fun. We talk to Spencer about that, and we'll get something going. Yeah. Oh man, I just love the Rumble. We're not going to give picks for listen. Note this stuff.
We gotta let's have a Royal Rumble.
In a month's time, we're going to have a Rumble show, and our predictions could completely change.
Yep.
So we're going to have like a full Rumble episode where we can talk about the Rumble, because me and JPJ can talk about the Rumble for hours. It is easily our favorite thing in wrestling. Regardless of what you think about WWE, it don't matter. There's nobody that
WrestleMania season is still the one season that, as much as you complain about WWE, and me and Josh have complained aplenty about a lot of WWE, WrestleMania season, it starts with the Rumble. It's what happens. And I feel like WrestleMania season, no matter how we're feeling about WWE, we're focused. We're paying attention, because that's their season. WrestleMania. That's their season.
Anyone who says they aren't is probably lying.
Yeah, I would agree.
Probably.
I would agree. Most people. Yeah.
But, we're going to talk more about the Rumble and WrestleMania, I'm sure, aplenty over the next few months. 2021, all in all, it's been a mess, but there's been some standout moments and stuff. And even in our personal lives, I've had a rocky year, but I'm still keeping the good fight, still keeping a smile on the face. That's all you can fucking do in this time. But 2022 is upon us. We're just a few days away. When this airs, we'll literally be 2 days away from 2022. So I mean, this is a cliche thing to say, but any personal New Year's resolutions that you got for yourself all lined up?
Yeah, I want to get rich and famous.
Well, who doesn't, friend? Who doesn't?
Well, this year I'm trying.
I want to have. This is my three things. My three things would be more money, more sex, eat more food.
Cool. I mean, those are three. That's three good things.
Yeah.
I would like to, by the end of 2022, I would like to have my own business.
Ooh.
So that's kind of a New Year's. That's kind of not. I would say that's more of a goal than New Year's resolution. But at some point in 2022, I would like to start my own business.
That's cool. I just want to get rich. Maybe I'll become like a drug dealer or something.
Well,
like
I mean, that truly. I was kind of kidding. I wasn't kidding. Like I want to get rich and famous. Maybe
I'll really find. Maybe my goal is maybe not get rich. Maybe meet a rich man.
I was gonna say, get it. Like now, would you go the sugar daddy route?
Absolutely. Give me money.
Okay.
Listen.
You'd have to be foolish not to, right?
Listen. If there was an 80-year-old man that was billionaire and he said, "Hey, blah blah blah," and I'll be like, "You're gonna die in a few years. It's 3 years, and then I'm a fucking
rich,
millionaire.
Filthy rich.
I'd get all the inheritance, and then I can find some much better looking younger man that can, accommodate me, and I'll be good.
What you gotta do.
And I'm a millionaire. I didn't have to work another day in my life. What a dream!
Oh my God.
What a fucking dream! I could buy Vince McMahon's mansion that he's selling if I wanted to.
32. It's right down the street from
me. It has 12 bathrooms.
I know, because God knows you need it.
Well, but to be fair, Vince McMahon is 144 years old. When he needs to go to the toilet, like, you don't have a lot of time from, like, needing to go to getting to the bathroom. So he probably has a bathroom at every corner of the mansion to be like, if I have to piss, I'm going to piss myself if I don't get to a bathroom, like, pronto. So I understand that. But 12 bathrooms, but only 6 bedrooms. I don't know. For 32 million, I'd probably want more than 6 bedrooms.
That has to mean that every bedroom has a bathroom.
Yeah, and then
right,
and then every bathroom has its own bathroom.
Yeah, 6 others. But you would think if you have 12 bathrooms and 6 bedrooms, every bedroom comes with its own bathroom, and then there's 6 other bathrooms.
That mansion doesn't even have a pool.
Well, it's Connecticut because you have to open and close it because of the weather.
Okay, all right, okay. I didn't really take.
So Connecticut is literally the state below Massachusetts, not directly below. But
well, that means you're close to Gabe and stuff. Like Gabe's in Connecticut, so the CFG boys, they're all in Hartford. I want to say.
Yeah, that's about.
They openly say it, by the way, guys.
3 hours.
So don't worry. I'm not giving out their location. They openly say that they're from Hartford.
Hartford.
So if you're going to buy a
2.5,
mansion in America, I feel like you would buy it in like California, wouldn't you? Wouldn't that be like
earthquakes, man? They have earthquakes. California's going to break off into the sea at some point. I'm good with that.
So, like, where would you buy a mansion then? If you're in America,
honestly,
New York?
I'm not joking. I would go to I'm very partial to where I'm from. I'm very partial to where I'm from. I would stay in Massachusetts.
Right.
But if I had to go anywhere else, I would think I would go up in the woods in like Vermont. There's a state called. Have you heard of?
I've heard of Vermont. Yeah, I've heard of it. Because
Vermont
isn't that
like
are you a Friends person? Do you like the show Friends? You're not, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, don't they go to Vermont to like Chandler and Ross go to Vermont and they get those little candies? Do you remember those little like?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the maple candy. He's like, oh my God, and he's like eating it, and they steal all the stuff from the hotel, right?
Yeah, I completely forgot.
Because Monica and Chandler were going to go together, but then something happened with Emma, like the
something
baby.
happens to them. Yeah,
Rachel's and doesn't that? Am I making that up?
No, you're not.
So that's
the maple
Vermont.
candies.
That's how I know American cities. It's truly through American pop culture and wrestling.
That's fine. Vermont is a small state, but like it's very woodsy.
So
but it's like very
you're like that kind of guy. You're not like a city.
Dude,
you're like
I would have a mansion cabin in the woods,
away from population.
No, not really, because I'm an extrovert, so I do need. Ooh. I don't need to be like my house. I would want I don't want my neighbors like that near me, but I would want to be within like a half-hour ride to a city or something like that, because I need to like, hey, let's drive to the city and go get dinner tonight, or like, let's drive to the city and hit up this bar. I need to be out and about. I'm an extrovert. But like when I'm at home, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. I wouldn't be you know, friggin' like, I certainly wouldn't buy a mansion in like Adelaide or something like that. Now we can't even see your video again. It's doing that thing again. Oh no.
Oh my god.
Oh no. It must mean we're very close to the
I was gonna say right towards the end.
It worked. I wouldn't buy a mansion in Adelaide. There is places in Adelaide that are very exy, that are very bougie. I will say that for anyone that's from Adelaide listening to this, or knows Adelaide, any Australians listening to this, or anyone in the world that knows Adelaide, they know there's some pretty rich areas of Adelaide that you drive through and you're like, ooh, we know where the upper class of Adelaide are living. Because a lot of people, Adelaide is known as the city of retirement. A lot of people retire in Adelaide because it's still a city, still very, but it's a little slower paced. You can get by. It's got like a very country like town feel, but a city. You know what I mean? Because it's very spaced out. It's very easy to Adelaide, for all the shit I give it. It is probably the easiest city to get around in, as opposed to like if you chuck a wrong turn and you go right here, you're going to be able to get back to where you need to be relatively quickly. Where in Melbourne or Sydney, you take a wrong turn, you got to go all the way fucking around. You got to find your way back to where you're getting. They're very busy cities, but if I was buying a mansion, it would be somewhere near Melbourne. I love Melbourne. I adore that city. I put Melbourne over in that many fucking aspects. Anytime I can get. I've been to Melbourne a handful of times, and every time I've fallen in love with it. I'm a city guy. I want to live in a city. I don't currently, and I really like that aspect. There's something about Melbourne, though, that I don't feel uncomfortable and I don't feel in danger, even though you're in a big city. It's a very clean, it's a very modern city. People call Melbourne like a very urban city, and it has the best coffee in the world. Melbourne is known for that.
That would be a big, and then again, that's why Vermont is on my list as well, because good coffee. I'm a sucker for a maple latte, man. That's my go-to is a maple latte.
You would love Melbourne because if you're an extroverted person, Melbourne has a lot of lanes that just has like cafes and coffee shops, like little pop-up, and they're like, you pay a little bit more, but like you go down there and there's artwork, like graffiti all over the. They did like when Super Showdown was on, they had a giant. I have a picture. I'll send it to you. It's a Becky Lynch like thing on the street mural. That's the word I was looking for. There's a Becky Lynch one, and I'm standing with it, but they do it up for whatever's coming. So if like, say if Lady Gaga was coming into Melbourne, they do a Lady Gaga thing, and you go down those. You do that's called Hosier Lane, but you go down all these different. It's just like you walk in Melbourne, and Melbourne City's in this giant square. And it all kind of looks the same, but you go down these little lanes and there's like cafes and there's all these, and it's truly so good.
That would be where, so if I lived there, that would be where I would want to work.
Yeah.
I would want to work.
See, I would love to. It's so
You know what I mean? So like, I would want to work down there, but then at the end of the day, when I'm going home,
out to the suburbs.
I want a 25-minute ride. 20-minute ride. Let me get suburbs. And then let me kind of be at peace. Like for that nobody bothering me.
20 minutes out of the city, Melbourne is it's got lots of like suburbs, and it's just.
So that would be my ideal. Like, let me live in one of those suburbs with my own decent amount of land.
You have you have a backyard with a dog, like, you know what I mean? Like you have that kind of life. And then
I go, all right, 20-minute ride, and I'm in the hustle and the bustle of the city. I'm there on my lunch break. I'm outside exploring.
So like you go down these lanes, and it's just like you look to your left, and it's like a Chinese food place, and then you look to your right, and it's like mum and dad like fucking cakes and biscuits, and then you look, and then you've got coffee, and you've got a breakfast place, and like you go with money to Melbourne, but it's a good damn time. Like I enjoy myself whenever I go to Melbourne, and it's been a real shame the last couple of years that I just can't go anywhere because I love traveling I love flying into Melbourne. The airport is wonderful. Like it's really easy. Like I hate a fucked airport. Like there's nothing worse than flying into somewhere and you're like, where the fuck do I go? Like in Queensland, up near in the Gold Coast, where everyone goes for like theme parks and stuff, like it's very beautiful. it's just the Gold Coast airport is a fucking disaster. And it's just, I get lost in there every time. And I'm just like, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. Like, Adelaide airport is very easy to get around. There's signs everywhere. I'm like, okay, I just know where I'm going. And Adelaide airport is like fairly, I mean, it's Adelaide. You walk into Adelaide airport, you're like, oh, everything's so beautiful. You walk outside, you're like, what's that smell? Oh, it's meth. I can just smell meth. But whatever it is. But, you know, oh, God, I give Adelaide so much. I'm allowed to because I'm from here. If other people talk trash about Adelaide, I'm like, you shut your fucking mouth, all right?
I mean, this is the same thing for me. Like, and again, I don't live in the city of Boston, but I'm half hour away. Yeah. It's where I'm from. So, like, if other people are talking bad about Boston, I'm like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
But like me, I talk shit about people from Boston Boston all the fucking time. Like, we're terrible. We're not terrible people, but like we're hurry up, quick, like fat, like let's go. I don't got time. We're like curmudgeon-y. Nobody's ever feels like, even when they're in a good mood, they never feel like they're really in a good mood. It's like this person could snap in a fucking second. And turn into.
I need you to, you have an assignment, all right, for next week's show. I need you to, over this next week, you need to look up Adelaide Hindley Street. Hindley Street, all right? It's got all the clubs. It's where everyone goes to go out. There's lots of bars. There's like known McDonald's in that street where people get stabbed. Like it's a lot.
Oh shit.
Okay, so like a lot of stuff happens in Hindley Street in Adelaide. Right. I'll give you the spelling over Twitter DMs, and you can just have a little field day. Go YouTubing. It's pretty.
Oh, I will.
But it can be dangerous. I've been to Hindley Street many times by clubbing days when I'd go out every other weekend. And you would go around and you would be like, what am I going to get into this weekend? There's fights. And
Danger is my middle name.
Oh,
so, Austin Powers. No?
Yeah, Austin Powers. I mean, I liked Austin Powers.
Danger's my middle name. How can you not?
Yeah.
I thought by now
there'd be a fourth.
They would have already made another one. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Let's be completely
Green, Scott being the main villain.
Okay, but let's be honest. Mike Myers is not as good as he used to be.
I mean, what's he really been in a ton of? He hasn't been in a ton of things.
It's Shrek, right?
Well, no. I'm talking about like recently. So Mike Myers has 3 of the most iconic movie characters of all time. 3.
Austin Powers.
He has
Shrek.
Austin Powers, Shrek, and Wayne's World.
Oh yeah, Wayne. I was like, what's the other one? Wayne's World. What?
So he has literally like 3 of the more iconic, especially Austin Powers and Shrek. But like Wayne's World is very iconic. Like he has 3 of the most iconic movie roles of all time.
Yeah, I would say that too.
That's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good run right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not a bad.
I'm saying, but like recently though,
man, he hasn't.
What has he really been? I know he's been in things, but what's he really been in? I feel like he's been in like serious movies.
But exactly my point. What's he done?
But you don't think if he was like, hey, I'm going to do Austin Powers 4, that it wouldn't
Let's be honest. Austin Powers Gold Member with Beyonce came out in 2003.
It was the worst of the 3, but it was still good.
Oh, see, okay. I watched that one first because I was young. So
that's fine. I think the first one is the best.
The second one I think is the best movie. I think the second one.
It's great.
Spy Who Shagged Me. Right?
Look again, when I say Gold Member is the worst, that's too negative of a word, because all 3 of them to me are hysterical. It's the worst of the bunch in my opinion.
It's got Beyonce in it. It is weird.
But the Spy Who Shagged Me, the second one is so funny. Fat Bastard is just special.
So good.
But the first one, just the one-liners that he has in the first one, to me, like, man, all 3 of those movies are.
They're amazing. Like fembots are like
so funny.
They're just so. There's fembots.
I love the fembots. Yeah,
when Britney Spears is a fembot in the Gold Member, it makes me fucking howl laugh.
Yeah,
I don't know
like
why.
John Travolta shoes up at the end as like Gold Member when they have like that scene with like all the celebrities and stuff.
It's like, it's the. Danny DeVito, hey, I'm Mini-Me, come get me. And he just like slips off the thing and he's got like a cigar and shit. It's the most Tom Cruise is like, what the
Tom Cruise
fuck?
is in there.
It's such a bizarre.
Dude, they're great movies. They're great movies.
They're stupid as fuck and they're so good.
Oh yeah, but that's what they're supposed to be, and they're just funny.
That's just what they are. Man, I don't know how we got to Austin Powers.
That's how we end the show on Austin Powers. That's what we're doing.
I'm gonna end this at some point. We gotta end this. We've nearly been going for 2 hours, but who gives 2 shits? It's the final of 2020.
It's the end of the year. Yeah, exactly.
We're compiling all this shit into 2021, so to the end of the episode for 2021. So, we will be back next week with our first episode of 2022. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Who really gives two shits? We'll have some kind of topic, or we won't. We don't really know. We're like Raw. We rewrite on the fly sometimes. So It is what it is. Anything to promote? Have you got the Beardies coming up, don't you?
The Beardies tonight. So if you are watching this or listening to this when it's released on Thursday morning, tonight at 8 o'clock, we're starting a half hour earlier than normal. So 8 o'clock on all the Love Wrestling platforms. Pluggo and myself are having our year-end edition of Between Two Beers.
So that's 11:30 my time on Friday morning, guys.
Yes, please say that.
So if you're in Australia, it's around 11:30 midday on Friday. So it's perfect. It's New Year's Eve for us here. So a lot of you don't have work. Go watch the Beardies. Start your drinking early. It's an excuse.
Why not? Have a nice afternoon drinking sesh. We have 10 categories. Pluggo, I believe, will be releasing them on Twitter in the coming days with some polls and stuff for you.
Well, it would already be everybody. Already be out by the time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dang it.
But it'll already be. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But you'll see them on. Yeah, and it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. You find out who wins the Beardy Awards.
If you love wrestling, start your drinking off and maybe have like a light lunch with a few drinks. Watch the Beardies and then get fucking hammered in the afternoon.
And then get your plans together and go get wrecked on New Year's.
It's New Year's. You're allowed to drink during the day.
I feel like most of us have to forget about this year. So just like, let's just get a little wrecked and have a good time. And
I might even pop into the chat and have a few lunchtime ciders and have a little chat with you boys during the Beardies.
That would be amazing.
I'm allowed to. It's New Year's. I can day drink without anyone judging me.
There you go.
Not that I need
one of the few
permission.
holidays that you can. It is a drinking holiday. I
didn't drink at all over Christmas. Not one sip of alcohol.
Really? Christmas Eve, I had a few beers. I had a few beers on Christmas Eve. But
I've got ciders in the fridge ready to go for Friday. I'm gonna have them over ice because I like a pear cider over ice.
Oh, pear! My favorite fruit. Favorite fruit, pears.
Wow, pears never anyone's favorite fruit. I like that.
Well, it's this guy right here.
Like a good pear, do you?
My favorite fruit.
Good for you.
I like all types of pears. My favorite are Bosc pears.
Ooh.
Those are my favorites.
Ooh. We have them here.
But I'm also a fan of a good red pear. But I like all pears. My favorite fruit.
Damn, good for you. I like pears.
But anyway.
But yeah. So you got the Beardies, so you can do that in the next however long from this. It's like 12 hours-ish from when if you're watching this. It's sometime in the next few. You'll see it. You'll see it, okay? You'll see it pop up on Love Wrestling. If you didn't know, for me, I announced the Legacy of is coming back on January 24th, 2022. Yes. The Legacy of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I don't think you were probably expecting that when I was hyping it up last week, JPJ, because you didn't know who it was.
I didn't know who it was. I thought about asking you, but I kind of wanted to be surprised, so I didn't. I think you would have told me maybe. I probably would. I didn't ask. But I was excited. I was like, ooh, we talked about it earlier today. I love Britt Baker.
Exactly. And I said everyone loves this person collectively on the internet. And I don't think there's someone that they love more than Britt Baker, DMD. But she's going to be my first subject. So you've got a whole month, pretty much, a little bit less now. January 24th, Monday, 8 a.m. my time. So Sunday night for a lot of you, the week before the Royal Rumble. And in the next few weeks, you'll see the full schedule for the first month back of the Legacy of. They're going to be a lot of fun. So I don't have any content coming on Love Wrestling for the whole next month. So don't miss me too much. Don't forget who I am on Love Wrestling. I'm still in the back hands of the things and doing stuff behind the scenes. I got to talk to Spencer. I haven't talked to Spencer in a while. Just saying that, but I need to talk to Spencer, not out of hate, it's been a lot going on in our lives, so we just haven't had the opportunity to sit down, but I need to do that. So yeah, Legacy of is coming back. I have all my Twitch streams and stuff like that you know that I do. Got some new stuff in the works, so yeah, I don't really have too much else to promote. You know where to find me at this stage. At time of recording, I have gained like 700 followers on TikTok in like 2 weeks. Wow. It's weird.
Pretty good.
I hope maybe that should be my 2022 resolution. Get famous on TikTok. So
you're going to say, get TikTok famous?
Will, if you just see me promoting those whitening teeth things that they put in their mouth, mind your fucking business. It just means that I'm a shill and I'm getting paid to do that. And I will do that. Any brand, I don't care what your morals
if
are.
someone's paying me, I'll promote whatever.
I don't care. I will do anything.
No.
You want me to promote fucking, I don't know, a fucking piece of cardboard. I'll do it if you pay me. I will hype that cardboard to make it the greatest piece of cardboard in the motherfucking world. Trust me. I will. But yeah, in all honesty, I'm just over here doing my thing. 2021 has been a mess, but it's still life, and you just keep rolling with all the punches that you can. And as long as you're smiling, making someone laugh, who really gives two shits? I'm pretty certain that I've made someone laugh this year. So then mission accomplished. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Mission accomplished.
I agree. 100%.
But we'll see you in 2022. Isn't that a nice joke? See you next year, guys. Goodbye.